Here we are at Washington on the Brazos, the birthplace of Texas, to tell you about the impacts of vegetation.
There are three types of vegetation here at Washington on the Brazos. The first one is ground cover, which includes grasses, forbs, and tree seedlings. Here we have an example of grasses. The next category of vegetation is shrubs and saplings. Here's an example of a shrub.
The final category of vegetation is mature trees. What's a mature tree, you might ask? A mature tree is simply a mature tree. Judging by this tree right here, mature trees can be found at Washington on the Brazos. Why is vegetation important? I'm glad you asked. First of all, vegetation provides habitat for many different animals. Also, vegetation anchors the soil, which helps reduce erosion.
Vegetation provides privacy and shade. Also, vegetation provides scenery and a natural appearance. Scenes with vegetation reduce stress more than places without vegetation.
Being that people use this park, there are definitely impacts that occur.
These impacts may be direct or indirect. A direct impact can include trampling or vegetation removal.
Here's an example of how recreation impacts can impact a park. First off, people trample over here, which leads to a loss in ground cover, which then leads to erosion or root exposure.
An indirect impact may be soil compaction or erosion. One of these indirect impacts is erosion.
There are a few things that you can do to help us reduce recreation impacts.
A few things you can do to help prevent recreational impacts is to avoid moist areas like this.
Another way that the park has helped reduce impacts is creating these trails. These trails can help reduce trampling and soil compaction.
The park has also implemented these rock barriers to help reduce the impacts of erosion.
The park has put up a sign that says no vehicle traffic. They're trying to prevent compaction of the soil.
As you can see, the park has put up a sign to try to prevent the picking of wildflowers.
The park has put up signs like the one about the picking the wildflowers, also because the ground cover is most affected by recreation. The least affected are the mature trees.
I hope you learned a lot about vegetation today.
Thanks and giggle.
There are several ways that you can
There's a bug in my ear.
Well, just got bit by a fire ant, but the ground cover is